Well, researchers say they've discovered a new dwarf planet at the edge of our solar system. Take a look. The team named it 2017 OF201. Other than having a mouthful of a name, a team from the Institute for Advanced Studies School of Natural Sciences says the dwarf planet is one of the most distant visible objects in our solar system. And researchers say it's large enough to rival the size of Pluto. Yeah, and what's interesting is that scientists thought nothing existed in that empty section of space beyond Neptune, but the discovery shows that part of space is not empty after all, Justin.
I know, they're giving it a complex, right?
We're bringing Pluto back.
First Pluto, we're going to hashtag that, right? First Pluto's not good enough, right? Sophia and I learned about it. Glennie learned about it when we were growing up.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's like, we have no use for you. Go away.
I think my kids told me that. I think they broke the news. Pluto's not a planet.
Yeah, there was a dwarf planet, and they said, out, right?
Right.
Anyway, bring them both back in. Makes it 10. Nice, easy number, right? There you go.
Exactly.
All right, let's get you out the door this morning. Our arc generators camera looking pretty good. Some of those clouds are hanging tough this morning, and look at all of the dust too. We were talking about, Haley was mentioning that Saharan dust at 6 o'clock, and yeah, if you notice a little bit of extra itchiness to your eyes, your throat a little irritated, a lot of that Saharan dust is here. We're going to see another big plume of that coming in as we get to Wednesday and Thursday. Meanwhile, temperature-wise, we're sitting in the low 80s just after 8 o'clock here. Notice the color change as you get a little further north of there, and that's because we've got some pretty good thunderstorms. In fact, some of these thunderstorms starting to weaken a bit, but still not too bad. We've got a couple of stronger spots right here across parts of Madisonville, getting a pretty good soaker. Some lightning strikes within that near Crockett. This white box is what's called special weather statement. It's basically a threshold underneath a severe thunderstorm warning. It still means it's a strong storm, and it's probably, for some of the wind gusts we've seen, about 45 miles an hour out ahead of that. But the whole line itself is starting to lose some of its punch, which is good. So that does mean by the time it gets down into parts of the Brazos here from Cameron, Rockdale, a little further south, it should mainly just be inconvenience as it moves on down. Let me put the storm tracker in the last hour, and you can see all the lightning just kind of start to fall apart here as it gets closer to us. So that said, it looks like the majority of this is all going to continue to slide east and should be moving out of the picture. This is the brand new future track, just updated about, what do we got, about 20 minutes ago. And notice that it keeps things up around Crockett, Trinity, Lake Livingston could see a bit of a messy start to the early part of the afternoon, and then that moves out. The rest of the region is going to be fine today. It'll be hot and sticky for sure, but we should be rain free. So if you're trying to bring folks over, if you're going to go out to Memorial or whatnot, I don't think we're going to have any problems. Now, as we go tonight and tomorrow, here comes the next wave. Let me back this out. Notice this one continues to bring in some of that heavy rain. That also could start to fall apart by about midnight. So that said, there are still some areas that could probably see some stronger storms early tomorrow. So if you're an early riser, you got to get out for first shift and get back to work on Tuesday. You may be running into some wet roads. We will reload things, and then we have more storms coming in for Wednesday. And part of the problem is that this front is stuck to the north of us near Dallas. And so it's going to send these waves at us over the next 3 to 4 days. Now, we do need the rain. It's particularly dry since it's been so hot this month, but it will be a little messy on the roads tomorrow morning as that continues to slide through. That should start to dissipate by the afternoon, and I think we're looking at a better forecast for the afternoon. But as we mentioned Wednesday, you saw I'm going to keep the rain chances elevated at about 60%. Here's a bird's eye view of what it looks like. Notice this front slowly starts to sag southward as we get into Tuesday into Wednesday, but these little disturbances rolling along that track are going to continue to keep that wet, stormy weather around all the way in through the end of the week. And in fact, we could be talking about rainfall totals going into the weekend where it starts to dry out anywhere from around 2.5 to maybe 3 inches, right? And probably some pockets closer to 3 to 4. So just be ready for a bit of a pattern flip for us this week, Sophia. Once we get to the weekend, that front should scoot out of here and that'll dry things out. But again, remember on Sunday, that's June 1st. That's the start of hurricane season.
Oof, officially.
Make sure you got those kits ready.
Gotta be prepared. Do it now while you can. All right, Justin, thank you.